For my artifact, I'm using this sketch note that some of my students created to describe their experience with this project. We did other little things as extensions to the main theme of sustainability, but this was at the core of what we did, and the part that my students found to be the most engaging. Before my students made this, we discussed the pillars of the deep learning process, which I frequently use in my teaching practice, also known as the 5 C's. They are collaboration, citizenship, communication, critical thinking, creativity, and character. Students helped to define these terms and went through their experience with this project, highlighting which pillars we focused on throughout each step. I'll take you through this now. This all started with a conversation with my class about how it would be fun to make our own maple syrup. We'd been learning about sustainable food systems, and this seemed like the perfect opportunity to delve a little deeper into this subject. I called a connection that I have at Camp Kanakwa, and he set us up with all the materials we needed to collect sap. Another friend of mine came on a walkabout with my class and I, and taught them how to identify maple trees by their buds, since there were not yet any leaves out at that time of year. The next day, we set out to identify the maple trees we wanted to tap. Students measured the circumference of trees to make sure they were big enough. We wrote letters to the tree owners asking them permission to tap their trees. Most were happy to let us onto their property. We then set off tapping maple trees, all within a couple blocks of our school. Camp Kawartha generously agreed to boil down our sap, and so a friend of mine and I took turns driving it out each day after school. One day, I took my entire class out to deliver our sap. The students helped the staff at Camp Kawartha collect their sap that day and learned about how it is boiled down to make syrup. They also learned about the traditional uses of sap and how Canada's Indigenous people harvested it, boiled it down, and used it. One day, while we were collecting our sap, we came across a city worker. He said that we were not to be tapping the trees even if they were on private property. This is where the project really took off in terms of student voice. Back in the class, students decided that they wanted to write a letter to the mayor of Peterborough as they were in disagreement with what the city worker had told them. They set off doing research, finding strong points to include in their letter. They discovered the scientifically supported benefits of outdoor learning, that of all species of maple trees, Norway maples, which are the trees we tapped, are the most tolerant to road salt, and that when done properly, tapping a maple tree does not cause it any harm. We wrote our letter, and the next day we hand-delivered it to the mayor. Included in their letter was an invitation to a pancake breakfast the students had been planning. She accepted, and 2 weeks later, in our school's learning commons, the students hosted the mayor, the tree owners, and some of our helpers to a pancake breakfast featuring the maple syrup they'd made. Students did all of the cooking, table setting, and were gracious hosts to their guests. The sense of pride in my students and the amount of learning that was accomplished was incredible, to say the least. Other little things we've started as an extension to our overarching theme of sustainability include growing plants from seed for our school's vegetable garden and our medicine wheel garden, and leading sustainable transportation campaigns at our school in partnership with Peterborough Greenup, which has resulted in the beginnings of a bicycle repair shop at our school for next year. Thank you.